Tonight on WTOP 10, concerns over a new city ordinance. Who opposes the newest social district coming to Oswego?
Plus, why the Lieutenant Governor of New York is resigning today.
And also ahead, a shooting in Brooklyn, New York this morning that left dozens injured.
WTOP 10 Nightly News starts now.
Good evening and welcome to WTOP 10 Nightly News. I'm Brian Ciccone.
And I'm Trina Catterson.
Police have identified a person of interest in the Brooklyn shooting today that left dozens injured in Sunset Park. Police say they are looking for 62-year-old Frank R. James.
A manhunt is underway in New York City for the gunman after authorities say the gunman wore a gas mask, then deployed a gas canister before opening fire on a subway train. Gloria Pazmino has more on this story.
Chaos erupting on a New York subway train. People cover their faces and panic as smoke begins to fill the car.
As soon as the smoke flared up, it started to engulf everything.
A shooter donning a gas mask deployed a smoke canister on a Brooklyn subway Tuesday morning, wounding multiple people with gunfire.
There was blood on the floor. There was a lot of blood trailing on the floor. And at the time, in the moment, I did not think that it was a shooting because it sounded like fireworks. All I saw were people trampling over each other, trying to get through to the door, which was locked, and there was just a lot of panic.
Investigators say there is no known motive for the shooting at this time.
That there are currently no known explosive devices on our subway trains, and this is not being investigated as an act of terrorism at this time. We can also report that although this was a violent incident, reportedly we have no one with life-threatening injuries as a result of this case.
The New York City Police Department is currently investigating a U-Haul truck that was rented in Philadelphia yesterday, which may have been contributed to the shooting. Police are still searching for the suspect.
The Lieutenant Governor of New York, Brian Benjamin, has been arrested today as part of a federal investigation over corruption. Benjamin is accused of trying to receive campaign contributions from a real estate developer. In exchange, Benjamin agreed to use his influence as a state senator to get a $50,000 grant and give it to a nonprofit organization the developer controlled.
We allege that Benjamin struck a corrupt bargain with a real estate developer referred to in the indictment as CC1. Benjamin allegedly directed a $50,000 state grant to a nonprofit organization controlled by CC1. And in exchange, Benjamin received tens of thousands of dollars of campaign contributions from CC1.
Hugo made a statement on his resignation, writing in part, quote, "I've accepted Brian Benjamin's resignation effective immediately. While the legal process plays out, it is clear to both of us that he cannot continue to serve," end quote.
Back here in Oswego, the mayor's plan for a downtown social district passed public comment yesterday after getting through the Planning and Development Committee this last week. This gives the new social district the green light for this summer. But some people in the community still aren't thrilled about this new plan. Melanie Higgins breaks down what this new district means and what people are saying.
With the new social district being proposed by Mayor Billy Barlow right here in Oswego County, it will allow people to walk from one business to another with an alcoholic beverage in their hand.
But not everyone is on board with this plan.
You know, of course, were some negative comments. I find that most of those negative comments came from people who actually didn't understand what we were really talking about.
Those online comments coming from local business owners and concerned parents alike. One woman writing, "We live in a city that can't get the homeless into shelters or the druggies off the streets. And now, add drunks to the equation, this is a college town. They will embrace the opportunity to drink outside." But Barlow disagrees with this.
I think we're doing it responsibly. They thought we were just lifting the open container and it was a free-for-all, and that's really not what we're talking about.
Barlow explains that the new social district isn't about lifting any pre-existing open container laws, but instead allowing a more convenient way for people in the area to enjoy all that Oswego has to offer.
When you have hundreds or maybe thousands of people in a very small area all drinking, The problems are much greater for issues, be it fights or arguments or belligerent behavior.
Others arguing the new social district may pose a threat to local businesses that don't sell alcohol. I spoke to one parent whose stepdaughter is attending the college. She says the social district shouldn't be anything to worry about.
I don't think that it'll necessarily be something that's an issue. We have a good police department. We have a good rapport with the college.
I'm Melanie Higgins, WTOP 10.
Thank you, Melanie. We've reached out to several people who expressed their concerns online, but all have declined to comment.
Socks that were collected for those in need are still being distributed to families. More than 30 organizations like the YMCA and the Community Foundation collected sock donations for all ages through the Heart to Soul Sock Drive. This is the first of many efforts of the newly established Mohawk Valley Community Engagement Partnership. Director Matt Miller says collaboration between local groups allow for more people to be helped.
Masking in public transportation may go away. The CDC will release a framework for the decision this week. Amy Kiley explores some of the factors that might be at play.
I think everything is still on the table.
The federal public transportation mask mandate expires Monday unless the Biden administration extends it. The White House says the CDC will release a new framework within days to help it make that decision.
We don't want to prejudge this. We want to look at what the evidence says and what the framework shows, and then use that as a decision-making tool.
Right now, people have to wear masks when using public methods of travel, like planes and trains. They also have to wear them in hubs, like airports and ferry terminals. Many U.S. airlines say they'd like the mask mandate to end, but cases are starting to tick up in some parts of the country. Philadelphia is the first major U.S. city to reinstate its mask mandate for indoor public spaces.
If we wait to find out and to put our masks back on, we'll have lost our chance to stop the wave.
Not everyone likes that idea.
I'm not a supporter of these mandates. What I'm a supporter of is educating and empowering the public so that they can make responsible decisions. But I think those kinds of mandates are counterproductive, particularly at this time.
Of course, when it comes to traveling safely, location matters. The CDC says a trip to most countries in Europe would be very high risk right now. Even countries it classifies as low risk might have complications on the ground. After all, that's how the CDC categorizes China. But Shanghai is under a strict COVID-19 lockdown. I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
Thank you, Amy Kiley. Right now, Oswego County is seeing an increase in COVID case numbers with about 900 more cases than reported last week. Oswego County public health officials say the last time case numbers were this high were back in early February. The county community COVID levels remain high, according to the CDC. It is recommended that people wear their masks indoors and keep their vaccinations up to date. And coming up later tonight, we will have the latest out of Ukraine as Russia is accused of using chemical weapons.
Plus, a beloved comedian dead at the age of 67, the legacy he left behind.
But first, let's switch gears to weather with Storm Team 10 meteorologist Taylor Hagery.
She joins us outside now. Taylor, the weather was gorgeous today, but can we expect that to stick around?
Hi guys, so unfortunately we cannot expect the nice weather to stay around. We've had our 55-degree temperatures for the last couple of days. We've seen some spring showers, and unfortunately a front is going to bring some thunderstorms in starting tomorrow night, tapering off into showers until Saturday, and then temperatures are going to drop down into the 40s. More information on that and a look at your daily almanac after the break.
Athletics, Aaron, there were 6 big points. This is the one you've been waiting for. This group has never beaten Cortland.
Getting started with some men's soccer as the Lakers had 2 conference matchups
For half of the Lakers' goals this entire season.
Offense is key. You talked all about scoring goals. Good evening and welcome to WTOP 10 Nightly News.
For the governor race with a strong lead, former Governor Andrew Cuomo is...
Barlow announced the completion of a large building mural in downtown Oswego.
The renovations on the Hewitt Union building, turning it into the new Hewitt Hall.
And as we move into tomorrow, that rain is going to be in our area.
Moving to the Diamond now, as Sweet Caroline got a lot sweeter last night.
Life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire, but you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
We've been marinating chicken in all sorts of liquids for 24 hours. These are vitamins and minerals and things that you need, nutrients. The chicken speedy is a staple of our culture.
Hi guys, welcome to WT Nightly News. I'm Taylor Haggerty with your weather. Let's take a look here at what we can expect coming up for the next couple of days. We've got the chance of thunderstorms Wednesday night. Our temperatures are going to drop down in the 40s after this front does come through, but hey, first thunderstorm of the season, really exciting news. We have lots of clouds expected this weekend. It'll be partly cloudy, but we'll see what we can get sun-wise. And our temps are going to drop in the 40s the rest of the week, and we can see some 30s this weekend. So let's take a look at our daily almanac for you guys. So our high today was 56, our low 42. Our sunrise was set at 6:28 a.m. this morning, and our sunset at 7:45. Now taking a look at our average, back in 1945, our average high was 67 degrees, setting an average low of 26 back in 1926. Our record high was 76 back in 1945, and our record low was 57 back in 45. It would have been nice to see that 76 degrees today, especially with us falling back down. Let's take a look at tonight's forecast. Now you can expect it to be cloudy skies with some of that rain showers moving in. It isn't going to start actually raining until midday tomorrow. It will be 41 degrees tonight, light breezes, and hopefully we see some clear skies. Taking a look at tomorrow's forecast, we're seeing a high of 68 degrees. However, you are going to have that rain come in for you guys. It is going to be cloudy starting out in the morning, but we will have some rain coming in like I've been saying. Our winds are going to be southeast, 8 to 16 miles per hour. And let's take a look at our daily planner hour by hour tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Within the 12 hours, you can expect it to start off as mostly cloudy skies at 52 degrees. We're going to start raising up our temperatures until we hit about 3 p.m. Then our temperatures are going to start dropping as those showers move in. And by 9 o'clock tomorrow night, you can expect steady showers at 58 degrees. And let's take a look at our 7-day forecast for you. So tomorrow we are going to have that rain for you. Our temperatures are going to look pretty good though, 68 and 55. Thursday and Friday they're going to start dropping for you. But Thursday should be the last time that we see some rain for a couple of days. So Saturday and Sunday, you can expect temperatures around the high 40s, mid 40s. But as I said before, we are going to start dropping our into the 30s. Let's head back to the news desk for more news.
Actor and comedian Gilbert Gottfried has passed away today from recurrent ventricular tachycardia due to myotonic dystrophy type 2. Gottfried has been described as the comedian's comedian, and he's best known for his roles in Beverly Hills Cop 2 and Disney's Aladdin. In recent years, Gottfried co-hosted a podcast and interviewed Hollywood icons and celebrities. He was 67 years old. And now the latest out of Ukraine. Russian President Vladimir Putin meets with his Belarusian counterpart Alexei Lukashenko at a Cosmodrome in eastern Russia today. During the meeting, they called the Russia killings as, quote, fake and staged by English men, end quote. Lukashenko has been an ally of Putin throughout Russia's war on Ukraine, allowed Russian troops to attack their neighbor via the Belarusian borders.
A Ukrainian military official says as many as 22,000 people may have died in Mariupol. This is the latest estimate as Mariupol remains surrounded and under siege by Russian forces. Mike Valerio has the story.
As Russian tanks move through Mariupol, smoke billowing above the ruins, a Ukrainian military official now says up to 22,000 people may have died in the city. Those who survived described their homes turned into a hellscape.
All the buildings, including ours, our 9-story building, and all the buildings were destroyed or had holes in them. There were dead bodies in the streets.
You've seen the images yourself. You've seen the devastation that Russian airstrikes have wrought on Mariupol and the city. But our assessment is that the Ukrainians are still fighting for it.
American and Ukrainian officials have not confirmed recent reports of a possible Russian chemical attack on Mariupol. Meantime, Russian President Vladimir Putin said today that peace talks with Ukraine are now at, quote, a dead end.
I have no doubt the objectives are clear and the objectives are noble. I said that at the very beginning. I draw your attention to the fact that in my very first speech, in my address to the nation and the army, I stated the objectives.
Those objectives, Putin suggested, are now narrowed to focus on the Donbas region, rather than occupying all of Ukraine. The country's First Lady, Olena Zelenska, spoke through an interpreter, telling CNN how she and her family continue through the atrocities.
It's like walking a tightrope. If you start thinking, how do you do it, you lose time and balance. So to hold on, you just must go ahead and do what you do.
I'm Mike Valerio reporting.
Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said that while the usage of chemical weapons is a real concern, the United States is not in a position to confirm the use of chemical weapons in Ukraine. When we return, we'll have your Consumer Watch.
Yes, experts are giving you advice on how to minimize your credit card debt. Stick around.
This job looks perfect. It says you need a high school diploma. You've got one of those, right?
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
I got that.
Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
Major Discussions is the new show that explores the stories of students right here on campus. I personally came here to SUNY Oswego for the broadcasting program because I love to hear people's stories and to do work just like this.
Welcome back to WTOP 10 Nightly News. President Joe Biden has announced he will suspend a federal rule preventing the sale of higher ethanol blend gasoline this summer as the Biden administration tries to tamp down prices at the pump that have spiked during the Russia-Ukrainian war. Officials say the move will save drivers an average of 10 cents per gallon at over 2,000 gas stations, mainly from the Midwest and the South of the nation.
Crude oil prices soared back above $100 a barrel. This comes as OPEC slashed its forecast for this year's Russian oil production. The multinational organization blames the loss of Russian oil supply in part on the penalties imposed on Moscow because of the invasion of Ukraine. Some also worry China could be easing its COVID-19 lockdowns, which would affect the global demand for energy.
New data shows the consumer debt in February jumped to the highest level in 10 years. Consumer Watch reporter Jen Sullivan tells us what's behind the rising numbers and what you can do to avoid getting into too much debt.
Credit card swiping is surging to record highs. In February, Americans racked up the most monthly consumer debt in over a decade. Just released data from the Federal Reserve shows consumer debt jumped by nearly $42 billion in February. Revolving credit, which includes credit cards, jumped by more than 20%. Experts say with interest rates on the rise, the cost of borrowing is climbing, potentially raising balances on your credit card bill.
I know this is easier said than done, is pay down those credit card bills, keep them paid off.
David Mahalik from Credit Vergio says soaring inflation in the U.S. is driving up that debt. As household savings are drying up, consumers are taking on more credit card debt to afford price increases seen everywhere. Mahalik recommends that you use this time to rethink and restructure your budget. Find a way to use credit cards more responsibly.
Try to use them as cash if you can, or like cash, meaning use the card, pay it off every month if you can.
Add another tip, consider consolidating all of your credit card debt on just one credit card.
Let's say you have 4, 5, 6 credit cards and you have little balances on all of them. That is really high risk.
Finally, consider using your frequent flyer points to pay off your credit card debt.
Those points today, 1 year from now, as inflation goes up by 8%, they will be worth 8% less a year from now.
Today's Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Thank you, Jen. Because a Bell's report was done before the conflict in Ukraine triggered a surge in gas prices, credit card spending is unlikely to have gone down after the February jump. And coming up, we have Aaron Valentino with your sports.
So Aaron, can you give us a quick preview?
Yeah, let's do it. A heavy day on the baseball and softball diamond. Plus, Lakers volleyball team hired a new head coach. I'll tell you who it is after the break. You're watching WTOP 10 Nightly News.
We've been marinating chicken in all sorts of liquids for 24 hours. These are vitamins and minerals and things that you need, nutrients. The chicken speedy is a staple of our culture.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Good evening and welcome to WTOP 10 Nightly News.
For the governor race with a strong lead, former Governor Andrew Cuomo is...
Barlow announced the completion of a large building mural in downtown Oswego.
The renovations on the Hewitt Union Building, turning it into the new Hewitt Hall.
And as we move into tomorrow, that rain is going to be in our area.
Moving to the Diamond now, as Sweet Caroline got a lot sweeter last night.
A new coach. Does this mean a new era for Lakers volleyball? Good evening, everyone. I'm Aaron Valentino with no television behind me this evening. Some big news out of Max Seal Gymnasium today as the Oswego State volleyball team has hired a new head coach in Toby Renz. Renz comes in as now the former coach of the Division I Georgetown Hoyas back in 2019 when they went 13-19 and 3-15 in the Big East. Renz has coached many D1 programs over the year and has won the MEAC Coach of the Year twice for Maryland Eastern Shore and the NEC Coach of the Year for LIU Brooklyn, where he also made the NCAA tournament 4 times. Renz is the 11th coach in Oswego volleyball history and will replace the legendary J.J. O'Connell, who retired after last year. To the diamond now, as yesterday the Oswego State softball team split an out-of-conference doubleheader with St. John Fisher. In Game 1, the Lakers blew a 4-run lead in the top of the 7th before Tay Smith hit a walk-off single in the bottom half to get the Lakers their 6th victory of the year. In Game 2, St. John Fisher took the lead in the first and never looked back and took the game by a final score of 6-4. The Lakers will travel to Clarkson tomorrow for their next doubleheader. Sticking with the diamond now, as today the Oswego State baseball team traveled to the North Country. Well, they've traveled to the North Country 2 of the last 3 days to take on their good friends in the Plattsburgh Cardinals. Yesterday, the Lakers took both games of a doubleheader by final scores of 19-6 and 8-2. Today, the Lakers stomped the Cardinals once again by a final score of 17-5. The Lakers are now 6-0 in conference play and 17-5 overall this year. Their next game is tomorrow, home opener versus Rochester. And sticking with some more baseball, yes, a lot of baseball this evening, as the Yankees yesterday got their first look at the revamped Toronto Blue Jays. Although the Blue Jays look a little bit different this year, it was a guy they acquired last year in George Springer that killed the Yankees in this one, as he had all three of the Blue Jays' RBIs, including a 2-run homer in the third. The Yankees will go on to lose by a score of 3-0. They're back in action tonight against the Blue Jays, where the score is 3-0 in the top of the 7th. All right, let's get to some Mets baseball here. There you see Bryce Harper getting ready for some action in Philadelphia. Top of the first, out of the park mark to right field. He dumps it in. It's already 2-0 Mets. Well, Escobar is going to score, and it is now 3-0 Mets. Mark Canha off to a very hot start this year. To the 8th now. Real Muto. Yeah, folks, that's a bomb. Look at that thing fly into the seats. Are the Mets going to blow it for the 2nd day in a row? Well, the Phillies are just down 1. A couple batters later, Rhys Hoskins down the field line. Into the corner, Mark Canha going to get it. And there you see Castellanos. Oh, boy, he is trucking right along. He will score, and this game is tied at 4. The Phillies have tied it. The Mets have blown another lead. Can the Phillies take the lead? Well, they can. Serditi, base hit in right field. That's going to give the Phillies the lead by a score of 5-4 in the bottom of the 8th inning, and the Phillies score 5 in the bottom half of the 8th to take the lead. Top 9, Brandon Nimmo, well, he strikes out to end the ball game against his former teammate, Brad Hand. Mets, they fall to 3-2 on the year. Phillies improve to 3-1. These two teams back in action tonight. Live score right now, 1-0 in the top of the 8th.
All right, thank you, Aaron. So we also want to give a shout out to Megan Trubia, and it's her birthday. So happy birthday, Megan.
Thanks, guys.
We love you, Megan.
Happy birthday, Megan.
Happy birthday.
Woo! I'm so glad I got to spend it here at WTOP. I wouldn't want it to have spent it any other place, so thank you. Bye, guys.
And
Athletics. Aaron, there are 6 big points. This is the one you've been waiting for. This group has never beaten Cortland.
Getting started with some men's soccer as the Lakers had 2 conference matchups
For half of the Lakers' goals this entire season.
Offense is key. You talked all about scoring goals.
Welcome to Understood.org, a free online resource for parents of kids with learning and attention issues, with personalized recommendations, tools, and daily access to experts to help your child thrive. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.